Welcome to my channel, Bring Peace into Your Life. Today I would like to talk about the downfall of human interaction. So humans are meant to interact. We seek connection, we crave connection, and it's something that we all want in our life and have in our life. But the downfall of human interaction, as in human to human, has really been affected, and it stems largely from technology, so social media, digital entertainment, and AI. This all this new technology replaces face-to-face time with people and that human to human interaction that we would normally have in and out on a day-to-day basis. When that does happen and we have less time with actual people, it can lead to loneliness, it can lead to weaker social skills, fragmented communication, and diminished emotional bonds. So, when we are interacting mainly online or through devices, it really takes away that closeness and that connection to another human. Technology is actually aimed at connecting us, but it actually works in the opposite way. It's making us more disconnected. So the internet, telephones, computers, it's all meant to help us connect with each other, especially people around the world that are not geographically close to us. But when we do that and we connect with people online and through devices, it stops us actually interacting with people who are in our family, our neighbours, people who are close by. And what happens is digital substitutes fail to fulfill our deeper need for connection. So, what happens is when we do rely on digital connection, it can actually foster isolation and it can actually be very negative to your mental health. And what happens is you can have depression, anxiety, there can be a lot of mental health issues that really take hold because you're isolating yourself from human interaction. It can reduce empathy and tolerance for different views because you're not interacting with different people on a daily basis and you're not interacting with people from different cultures and different places. It replaces genuine presence because you're building an online persona and you're not actually present with people in your life. Digital distraction is one thing that really drives the decline in human interaction. So phones and screens offer constant escape. It reduces boredom, but it can actually really reduce the motivation to seek out people in person and activities. Phones and screens offer constant escape and very quick escape from what's happening in your life. It can reduce boredom, but what happens is it actually reduces your motivation to seek out in person activities. So, this makes you turn away from real time conversations, real time activity with other humans. Texts have replaced calls, emojis have replaced nuances, and it makes interaction easier but also shallower. So there's not that depth of interaction with someone who is having their own independent thoughts. It's all interacting on devices. This then leads to a lack of social skills, but also a loss of social skills and less practice in real life communication. And it hinders the development of crucial skills, so listening skills, empathy, reading non-verbal cues. And obviously, everybody is on devices nowadays and everybody's on digital pathways and activities. But when children are actually being brought up in this day and age where they have iPads, they have laptops, they even use these in school, and quite often have phones from an early age, it can actually interfere with their ability to interact with other humans. And that's where that can be really difficult and actually quite damaging to a new generation. So AI and automation becomes is becoming more human like. So people increasingly turn to things like chatbots for companionship and replacing human to human connection. Now, this can be helpful in some ways. So if you are lonely, if you do have a lack of human interaction in your life and a lack of people in your life that you feel close to, you feel comfortable with, people that you trust, it can actually help in the sense that it can help you feel connected to people. But when you are feeling connected to AI and automation, and you're not actually seeing that automation as AI, you're then seeing it as a human connection. That's where that can be really difficult, and it can cause problems. It can cause real difficulty, especially with children, if they're interacting with a chatbot and they feel like it's a person. It then really isolates them from making true friends in the real world, and that can lead to depression. It can lead to isolation. When we had the pandemic, obviously there was a lot of issues with social distancing, and initially that made reliance on screens a necessity because it was something we had to do. We weren't allowed to see people in person, and we weren't allowed to interact in person, and many people actually struggled to readjust into interpersonal conversation and interaction after the pandemic. So a lot of children were brought into that kind of AI automation world and found it very comfortable. So then going out into the world and actually making new friends and interacting with other humans has been quite difficult. But it's something that I think we need to encourage in our children. We also need to encourage it in ourselves as adults to actually have interaction with people on a daily basis. Interaction online can be helpful, but it can really hinder that connection that you make when you actually meet someone and you meet a friend in real life and you chat and you talk and there's independent thought there and you're not actually relying on technology. The consequences of this can be increased loneliness and mental health issues. So, despite being connected to people online and in interaction online, we feel more isolated, and this leads to higher rates of depression. It can also lead to anxiety and sometimes actually suicidal thoughts. What happens is being online all the time weakens bonds, it fragments communication, and a digital substitute can fail to release oxytocin. So, oxytocin is crucial for bonding, and if we have less of this, it leads to weaker emotional ties. So when we bond with someone, when we interact with someone, when we hug someone, when we have an interaction and a conversation, oxytocin goes through our body. Our body is happy. It's like the happy hormone, and that really connects us with other people and we feel connected. When we're using digital devices, that connection and that human connection is taken out of the equation, and it doesn't feel as good to have those interactions, and it doesn't give you as much of a happy feeling as being with someone in a one-to-one social and face-to-face situation does. This then leads to the erosion of community. So reduced physical interaction weakens community ties and the collective sense of belonging. So when we meet up with friends, with neighbours, we feel connected, we feel like we belong, we feel like we're in a subsection of society, we're in like a small group. And that is really important for us as humans because we want to connect with people, we want to feel like we belong and like we're accepted. Potential solutions to this are intentional use. So, setting boundaries, yes, using interaction online devices can be very helpful, but if we set boundaries on our devices and prioritise in person conversations, it can really build that genuine connection back up and reclaim that for yourself. So if you are having interactions online with people, that's absolutely fine. Texting, communicating, voice notes, things like that. But meet your friends in person, meet your family in person, and really build those connections as strong as possible so that you feel connected and that you feel part of a community. When you use online tools, it's very good to use them specifically for a set purpose. So rather than using AI tools or devices to escape, When we use tools online, if we're using them purposefully and for a specific reason, that can be really helpful. But what we need to look at is not replacing real relationships and human connection with AI and digital interaction. That is when it really can be detrimental to your mental health. It can be detrimental to your family and the bonds and connections that you have with other people. So what I would say is use digital devices, use digital platforms, use all of that stuff that can help you and interact with you to help in your life, but make sure your family, your friends, your wider community, you're meeting them in person, you're interacting in person, you're talking, you're communicating, you're sharing ideas, you're sharing your values, because that is really important for your mental health. And especially if you're bringing up children, it's very important to teach them that in-person communication and bonds and connections with people are really important. If you've got anything out of this video, please share in the comments. I'm happy to have a wee look at the comments, see what things you're sharing. Tell us what helps you. Tell us what you do to actually help keep your human interaction going. So I really hope that this video was helpful. And if you got anything out of it, please like the video and share if you would like to. And I will see you in the next one.